in the new year of 2024. Happy New Year to all of our listeners and viewers that are on Facebook. Happy New Year. Get us on Facebook at Michael Badger. You can connect with us on Facebook, or, if you're not listening live on the radio. So I want to recognize our sponsors. Terry sent me some video from down in South Beach. He's down there with a lot of other brothers that getting ready for the Bills game on tomorrow. I hear that there might be more Bills fans than Miami fans there. And, so we say go Bills.
Go Bills.
But Terry McKelvey, the attorney at law, that's the attorney we use for, real estate closings, your divorces, your wills, criminal law, Terry McKelvey. And then John Elmore for your slip and falls, all of those type of circumstances, malpractice law. John Elmore, $3 Million Man. Give him a call. And then Dr. Frances Aluza, which pray for her and her family as she lost her mom, who was 90. They're having the funeral, I believe, in 2 weeks. And so just remember Dr. Frances Aluza in prayer as she's going to be burying her mom in Nigeria. And so those are our sponsors. And as always, and we've been doing this probably about 15 years now, the first Saturday of each month, we have Educational Saturday. I believe education is really the door to opportunity to economic freedom, and economic freedom gives you choices. When you got money, you got choices.
No question about that.
If you ain't got money, it limits your choices. And education is that pathway to economic freedom. So, Sam, welcome to the Vision of Hope. I don't have to welcome you, but, man, what's going on in education, brother? Listen, the grades came out. We've got a new session now with the board. I think Sharon Cotman is still president of the school board, and the superintendent has a 3-year contract.
Yep.
And so, how are we looking going into 2024?
So
man?
Before we do all that, I just was into those details. I was looking at the governor's announcement on Wednesday. The governor, did an announcement about the fact that where New York State at in terms of reading is unacceptable. You know what I'm saying? And she, laid out a plan, give some money to making sure that we can make sure all kids can read by the time they're in 3rd grade, right?
Yeah.
And it was just refreshing.
Yeah.
Because I remember where we generated that conversation, about kids being able to read, write, and do math on grade level, kids graduating college career ready. You just get them there ready to summarize it that way. But to hear the governor now, taking the position that, as a state, we have to invest in the science of reading because it's unacceptable to have kids in 3rd grade who can't read. And I remember just being around the table. I remember how big of an issue that was for Pastor Gillison. He said, well, so if the issue is they got to be read by 3rd grade, why don't we focus there? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you hear the superintendent, now you got the governor, and it just was refreshing to know.
It's not rocket science. No, it's not rocket science, Sam.
But people was acting like it was.
Well, because politics and greed are involved. You always got to follow the money. And the issue is that, unfortunately, in the short term, it seems like our children are expendable. But when you look at it in the long term, and I'm a firm believer in this. What happens to us in one generation will happen to them in the next.
Gotcha.
And so the reason why it's unacceptable now is because only about 50% of them can read.
I agree with you, but I also know that these are issues we were bringing up, in 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, even when our reading rates was going
Absolutely.
up. And so to now, and as parents, when we was bringing them up as just parents, that just, the teachers union dominated the conversation.
Yeah.
You couldn't even, all the people was talking about is, well, that's because the kids is poor. You know what I'm saying? The parents don't care. I mean, all people was doing is giving you reasons. They wasn't talking about, putting together, resources and strategies to solve a problem. Yeah. So now the point is this conversation that our coalition is much broader. The conversation from my perspective, having been in it over a 30-year period, to see the conversation where in the places it need to be in, with the resources allocated, and it's the right conversation. We ain't talking about blaming kids. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We talk
it's
about
the right conversation in this point, Sam, is that the acknowledgement that it needs to be fixed. My issue, though, is structurally. And in that conversation, if there's no accountability at the school level, at the classroom level, from the person that is responsible to teach the child, I don't see how you fix this.
Yeah, you make a good point, Bishop. Just to kind of give a face to that. One of the things that's going on at the state right now is they're trying to deconstruct the accountability system, meaning that they're trying to lower the graduation measures. They're trying to just give everybody a diploma. They're trying to take the pressure of kids not graduating college and career ready, or kids not being able to, get a diploma that means something. They try to take that pressure off of them, again, because they're trying to survive the backlash of the fact that 50% of the other community can't read, that kind of thing.
Well, Sam, the system is fraudulent. Okay? The system is fraudulent because, and you talked about it on last week, because when that student, 75 to 80% of those students that are taking their report card home, that parent thinks that their child got an A or B in reading in the grade that they're in, when actually they're 2 to 3 grades behind.
Right.
And so you've intentionally defrauded the taxpayer. And you've been able to do it because of the powerful lobbyists that the teachers union is.
Yeah, the reason why we talked about that is because that really is the issue. I think you call it out. You call it outright fraud. Yeah.
And it is. People went to jail in Atlanta. Black folks went to jail
for fixing grades. That's right.
Yeah.
So they doing it under the cover. You know what I'm saying? Of you get a report card. The report card, they say, is not reflective of just whether you can read or do math. The report card is reflective of your attendance, your behavior, your homework, your quiz scores, your test score. So it measures a whole bunch of things that don't got nothing to do with the fact of whether you can read, write, or do math on grade level, right? And so this in this particular case, this woman, she had a 4th grade child. Who had A's and B's all on her report card. Right. So she wanted the child to get into a better school. She took her child to another school, and they tested her, and they wanted to put the child back because they said the child is on a 1st grade reading level.
Yeah.
And then when she went and looked back at her 3rd grade test scores, the test score said that too.
So Sam, here's my point to the governor. Okay, unless you're going to face these issues, money is not going to solve this problem. We spend more money in New York State than any other place in the world.
That's true.
Per student, we spend more money than any other place in the world.
And we rank 34th in our children being able to read in this country.
So, in the country, we ain't even talking about the world. Because America ranks probably about 30th when it comes to the world. So you know where that puts us. Here again, Sam, that's all well and good. Like when I hear that kind of stuff, it really don't move me because I hear what you're saying, right? But money is not going to solve this issue alone. We need you got to have the resources. I get that. But unless you are intentional with those resources, unless there is some type of accountability, because at the classroom, beginning at the principal on down. If there's not that accountability, what are we doing?
Well, you make a really good point, right? Because most of the money that she's proposing goes to training teachers on how to teach the kids the science of reading prior to third grade, right? So the question that you ask from a structural or infrastructure is, why are we certifying teachers? We're paying teachers, we're certifying the teacher to go out and teach, and they're not trained in the college education process to make sure a child, they're certified to teach a child on the science of how to read. And that's what we're doing right now. We're certifying the teacher, and the teacher don't necessarily have the skills that are required to ensure that every child can read and do math on grade level. And so they're going back and they're putting the money together to have that training take place after the teacher has already graduated from college and certified. So they got some programs in colleges where they are now talking about offering this, teaching the child the science of reading. Why you teaching the teacher candidate, why they're in school. But again, this is all an infrastructure issue.
Right. Well, Sam, it's not rocket science. When Dr. Williams was here, Dr. Oladele, she proved with accountability in the classroom that these grades will rise, significantly over a short period of time. There's nothing wrong with our children.
Absolutely. And they it's interesting that you use Dr. Oladele as an example because, one, you're right. There's nothing wrong with our children. Scientists say that 95% of all kids should be able to read given the proper supports by the end of first grade.
Yes.
There's nothing, cognitively that prevents a child from being able to read. 95%. Only 5% of the kids that have enough have emotional and challenges like that will prevent them to read. Dr. Oladele, that was her attitude too. Dr. Oladele did not want to hear the excuses. She knew the kids can read.
Right.
And she came in and she made people, whether they wanted to or not, teach
accountability,
yes,
Sam.
That's
what
it.
happened?
And they ran her out of town.
Yeah. So Governor, if you're really serious about this, and at some point, I'm telling you, we're going to have to be serious about this because we don't have a workforce that is work ready. And even when we spent over $100 million, or I don't know how much we spent on Northland, maybe it was $45 million, that our students coming out of high school could not pass the entrance exam to go into Northland. So now they took away that because of the fact that we couldn't get our kids to go. But that doesn't remedy that the child can't read.
Well, they doing it at the college level now because the college attendance rate is going down. In order to get kids in the college to fill those seats and to get that financial aid, they're getting rid of the SAT test, they're getting the ACT because
then we're gonna give you some remedial courses. For the first year or two, you're gonna have remedial courses that don't count for your degree. Because we got to do what didn't happen back in elementary school, in kindergarten, in pre-K, up to third grade to teach you how to read.
So at the end of the day, we're continuing to, to make exceptions. I don't even know if make exceptions is the right word. We're continuing to lower our standard to keep the system going when you're right, the system is just broke. It don't work.
We're continuing to cow down to the teachers union. That is the strongest union in the country. And because of their ability to lobby and the money that they have, it's always about the money. You have to follow the money. Because they have this strong union, they've been able to manipulate what happens in Albany, even though it is to the detriment of our children. We're willing to sacrifice our children on the altar of greed.
It's interesting. There's a big controversy going on in the community right now. With Cat Williams did his special and he didn't outed everybody.
Man,
right. But one of the points I thought he made that was interesting is that he talked about our willingness to, sacrifice our children in the interest of protecting people. He said for him, it's only God's side and the other side. He said he don't care if they black, white, or purple. He said if they out there, they doing this stuff and it's, destroying our community, he calling it what it is and he ain't afraid, right? But what am I saying that for? I'm making that point to say that, so often people say, well, you can't attack the teachers. There's a lot of black people benefit from that, or you can't just call something what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, if the kids can't, by their measurement standards, kids can't read, write, and do math on grade level. We paying people the most money to do that. Why can't we simply say that? Why we keep continuing offering job security independent of outcomes? And is something wrong when you say that?
And here's the thing, Sam, you were a teacher. So when a child can't perform in the classroom, first of all, they feel ashamed. So they're going to check out. And normally when they check out, it's in their behavior.
That's right. They're going to be a distraction for other people, other kids.
Right. So what we have now is a lot of distractions happening.
Well, they checked out on another level now.
Yeah,
since COVID, they don't even come to school no more. I mean, I think the attendance rate is down to 80%, the average daily attendance.
And when they come, they fighting.
Yeah, I mean, so it's checked out as an understatement, and that, because of the impact of COVID, they fell further behind and they was used to not coming to class. So, I mean, we got a whole nother kind of challenge, in terms of, but in the middle of all this, kids not being able to read, write, and do math, kids checking out, kids got all kind of behaviors, teachers' pay is going up. Job security is going up. You know what I'm saying? We spending more money, you know what I'm saying, independent of anything. So we just paying people to show up. It don't matter whether the kid is actually learning or not.
Right. And in doing so, it is going to hurt all of us. See, that's the thing we are our brother's keeper, right? At the end of the day, all of us are impacted by this. But the thing that really gets me, and we're going to take phone calls and hold on. The thing that really gets me, Sam, is that I don't know of another industry where the customer is blamed. For the product.
Right. No, I mean,
when you hear educators talk, they talk about we need these parents,
right,
to get their children in order. Listen, parents have a responsibility. They are a major part of this equation. But I would like to see some of these educators try to navigate the system as just a parent. And they don't know that you're a teacher.
Listen, I work with a lot of these teachers and administrators whose children are in the system who have the same problem these parents have. Mm-hmm. I mean, real talk. I mean, they struggling as parents. You know what I'm saying? So, I think what it all comes down to is that there are so many things, especially in a city like Buffalo, that, continue to contribute to the disparity in the education outcomes. But I think the biggest thing, and this is the thing that we're going to be looking at this year, is that you really take parents out of the equation because you busing 70% of these kids, all across this city.
Hello.
You know what I'm saying? You're spending $50 to $60 million to take kids out of their neighborhood to go to school into another neighborhood, whereas, in a suburban...
And those parents don't have cars.
Even if they did have cars, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, in suburban communities, kids go to they have more elementary schools. They go to elementary schools close to their house. Now we're sending kids to school at 3 and 4 years old. We got kids get 3 or 4 years old going to get on a bus.
But if you live in North Buffalo,
there you go. You got more.
Okay. So wait a minute now, Sam, talk to me. Yeah. Okay. So if I'm making and those people that have that community school, none of their income is less than $100,000.
They got a community school and they got Olmsted. I mean, so the North
and City
I
Island.
mean, so my point is, so the people in North Buffalo who are very intentional about what they want for their kids, you know what I'm saying, they are putting together the model. You know what I'm saying? They got a pipeline.
They said we paying $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in taxes a year, and we want to make sure that our kids learn.
That's right. So they got a sibling preference and a neighborhood preference at Old Olmsted, and that's the only. Well, that's one of the two gifted and talented schools in our neighborhood. Is the only one that's a pipeline of city honors.
It is a public-private school.
And now they got the North Park Academy over there, which is, if you look at their numbers triple everybody else's number because it's a community school. So what am I saying? I'm saying that, we know that we are disenfranchising parents when we take parents and we have them have their children get on the bus and go across town from school. Where, I was talking to a school board member, and they was talking about in their neighborhood, they supportive of neighborhood schools, and they was talking about their neighbor wants their child to go to Lovejoy Discovery, which is right across the street. Mm-hmm. But their child can't get in because the school is full. They can't go to the school across the street from their house, and they want to bus them across town to school 31. She said, under no circumstances is her child going across town to school 31. I'm not sending my 5-year-old on the bus across town to school. I want her to go across the street. But they tell her it's not an option. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous on the face of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can't go to the school in my own neighborhood, the closest to my house. And they try to tell us, well, no, parents have the right to send their kids wherever they want to. They don't.
Yeah.
70% of the kids are bused, 30% are placed.
And we need to do away with city honors. We need to do away with Olmsted. We need to do less. If we're talking equity, and see, I've talked to board members who talk about they don't want community school because of equity issue. Well, it is more unequitable now than it's ever been. Stop that.
Wow.
Stop that.
I sent you something. It's a school district. It's a school district that's doing that right now.
Yeah, they need to get rid of it. So school board members.
You want to talk about controversy? Try that one, Bishop.
Yeah, well, but if you're representing us, we want equity. Let's go to our phone lines. 837-1112. Caller, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Thank you. This is a very interesting program. I was calling to tell you that I'm a member of the Buffalo Dortmund Sister City Group. And I don't know if you know, but for years we have exchange students that come from Germany because Dortmund is the sister city of Buffalo.
Okay.
I'm an African American. I'm the only African American on that committee in the city, and we had students that come here and they be here from September until December. They go back the first week of December. This year we had the opportunity of having a black student come over who was German. And the one thing that I used to was to try to get host families especially for the African American, but to take in some students. But you really nobody's really interested. I want to tell you how the program really actually works in just a few words. The Buffalo Public School does not participate in the student exchange program. They go to schools like Narden, and they go to St. Joe's, and to those schools. Now, when they come here, what they're studying here at those schools, they studied those things in elementary ed. So they are a high jump above what they're actually studying here.
In our good schools.
Huh?
In our good schools like Narden.
Right. Yeah. And what they do is, while they're here, they're still studying keeping up their schoolwork in Germany. So these are the students that come here and they do that. However, one thing that they find here in the education system is that the teachers are more personal with the students than they find over in their school district, in their schools. The teachers are not that personal with them. But yet still their grade scores are much higher, and they are now and also they have programs where they can go through their 4 years of high school in basically a few months. And be college ready at the age of 16 and 17.
Right. Well,
yes, but those are the things that I'm finding. So there is, I'm just telling you that even though you're going to those higher schools, it's still somewhere you got people coming out of their own cultural staring, and coming here to the school and finding out that they're more above than what is actually being. We have students, and every year we have students that come here and participate, and this is many years. And I'm the only African American on the committee. I went to Dortmund, and I found it very, for the simple reason I found that too many of our Caucasian teachers were too versed in how the child was being in their living conditions, and more so. And I felt that was a hindrance because they were not they were not actually teaching in a teaching for education, but teaching more for sympathy.
Yeah.
And by them teaching for sympathy, they weren't teaching nothing.
Caller, I used to be a teacher as well, and I found the same thing. When a child came into the classroom, my expectation was that I don't care, what your situation is at home. We here to learn, right? And we had a standard that, I had the same expectation of all children. Matter of fact, that child who had challenging situations needed more. The education was more important to that child.
Well, it's a case of not really believing that our children can learn, and that's what I was saying earlier. Thank you, caller. We've got more callers on the line. We want to try to get to some more calls. Caller, are you there?
Good morning, Bishop. How are you this morning?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good, thank you, sir. This is Sherry Sherrill from the We Are Women Warriors organization. I want to say good morning also to Mr. Radford. Thank you for all that both you gentlemen do, and especially the work that you do with the Buffalo schools and parents, Mr. Radford. Bishop, I have to respectfully disagree with you when you say that city honors as a school ought to be done away with. I think that not only should it not be done away with, I think that we here in the Black and African American community especially ought not be apologists for excellence. I have two nephews. One of them attends city honors, but you know what, Bishop? He also attends prep at UV. And what I want to say is that that young man has been reading since he was about 3.5 to 4 years old. And he could read not because a teacher in the Buffalo school taught him to read. He could read because his mother and his father made a point of literacy being promoted inside their household and being walked in. So, and on that note, I know you're going to disagree with me, and I can respect that, but I'd also like to say that today at 11:30, We Are Women Warriors is sponsoring a rally for community support to build community support for Humboldt Parkway homeowners and residents who are opposed to the current version of New York Department of Transportation's Kensington Expressway project. And I thank you so much. God bless you both, gentlemen. Happy New Year.
All right. So let me just comment real quick on that. First of all, the school district is made up of 80% black children, black and brown children, where they only make up 20% of the city honors.
No, 15, less than 15%.
Okay, and then 60% is white children, even though they only make up 20% of the district. So it's disproportionate, and you can't get those numbers unless you intentionally are doing something. Now, when you talk about reading, my grandson was reading at 3 years old. But and the school that he went to in kindergarten, at the end of the year, you know what his teacher said to his parents? Well, DeMario can read, but he doesn't understand what he's reading. And because he was so far advanced over the other children, he lost interest. They're killing many of our children in this way. So while you have this thing of a few of our children get in, okay, for the most part, most of our kids are locked in failing schools. That's why I say you need to get rid of it. There should be exceptionalism at every school. And we had that when I was coming. You had
honors program.
Yes, you had an honors program where those students could go, and then you had your general population. And we should make it excellent. Every child should have that opportunity. Right now, the only people that get in city honors for the most part that are guaranteed is people from North Buffalo. You fighting for these rich white folks to keep their children separate from us. That's craziness.
Yeah, and the question is, why don't suburban schools have a city honors?
Right.
Why don't they have a system
Right.
where they take all their top performing students and put them in one school and have everybody go to every other school? Because people ain't going for that model. You know what I'm saying? Everybody feel like, yo, wait a minute, you ain't finna take my tax dollars, put together a separate school for the special kids, for the smart kids, and then my kids just get what you got left over. You know, and people that you can do that in large urban school districts, you know, where high poverty is at, where you generally have these, you know, these city honors type schools.
Right.
But
so city honor work for the few blacks that get in.
Right.
Okay.
But when you say it work for them, I mean that's because listen. Those kids that go to City Honors are prepared when they get there. I got a son that went to City Honors.
Right.
He had 100 average in fourth grade. Right. I mean, City Honors didn't make him smart. You know right. He was smart when he got there. You know what I'm
exactly.
saying? So you got to, in order to get into City Honors, you got to be smart, right? So it's a group of parents whose kids gonna perform at that level because the parents are investing in that anyway. You know what I'm saying?
But Sam, there's a lot of kids that are just as smart that couldn't get in.
That's absolutely right. Matter of fact, it's thousands.
Right.
When the OCR came here and they recommended us doing another City Honors, because they said, listen, how do you got thousands of kids trying to get into these two schools, City Honors and Olmsted? You let 80 kids out of 2,000 who are eligible into the school. Why don't you create another school? They're like, no. That'll bring down our brand. You know what I'm saying? So they did not create, the Office of Civil Rights recommended that they create a second City Honors and they create a City Honors middle school, another middle school program, and they refused to do it.
This is 1954 all over again. This is Brown versus the Board of Education, separate and unequal. We still in it in 2024. And I gotta say, like school days, wake up. Wake up. Let's go back to our phone lines. You can see how passionate
I thought
about
it was interesting, though. I thought it was interesting the point you make that, you know, at the end of the day, what we're talking about is maintaining a program that does not primarily benefit our community.
Absolutely.
I think people need to hear that. You
Absolutely.
know, when we talk about City Honors, we're not talking about black kids. I mean, that's not what we're talking about.
Right.
I mean, that's just the bottom line.
Right. But you can talk about your individual nephew or son or daughter or cousin or whatever, but for the majority, it ain't working. And it's only working for white folks, and most of them live in North Buffalo.
And if they don't get their kid in the City Honors, those kids go into private school, or they go into a private school,
right.
or
Catholic, right.
or they moving out of the city to another. Right. Those people have the resources to make sure their kids in a pipeline to get to a top college or university.
And here, when we fight for for options like charter schools, mm-hmm. all of a sudden that's a problem. But that's the only option poor people have. Is the possibility of getting your child in a charter school. And the charter schools got waiting lists because all them black folks want their kids to learn too. And they're saying, I don't want my kids to have this inferior education that I'm getting right now in the public school system.
Well, the people that's trying to stop them, though, that's the union saying is, we don't want the kids to have those options. We want you to force them to go to these schools that, where we can guarantee our job security.
Right. And for all of you to say, oh, you just pro-charter, I'm pro-children. What's ever going to work for our children? That's what I'm pro. Let's go back to our phone line. Caller, you on the air.
Good morning, Bishop. Good morning, Brother Sam. How are you?
It's a great day to be alive. Good morning, brother.
Legislator.
Hey, you guys need your own podcast. Y'all can charge for this information y'all giving out today. Hey, I just want to talk about an exciting opportunity that's coming up next week. We have a construction workforce opportunity career fair next Saturday from 10 to 2 at ECC City campus. And it's an event that the Buffalo Building Trades are putting on, and it's supported by Erie County and the Buffalo Bills. So it's a workforce opportunity for those who want to get involved in a construction career. The elevators union, sheet metal union, plumbers union, electrical union, having a lot of retirees, and they're looking to replace those with individuals who are interested in an opportunity and an opportunity to possibly work on the Bill Stadium as well. So I just want to talk about that opportunity real quick and let the community know to come on out to the career fair. We did this about 3 months ago. It was a success. We did it at the KeyBank Arena, and we had about 300 individuals that came out and signed up, and we're just looking to duplicate that effort again because they're having a shortage in the building trades workforce. So just just wanted to put that out there to the community. Again, next Saturday, January 13th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at ECC City Campus, a construction work career fair that's taking place. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, legislator.
Can I add why he's saying that?
Appreciate that, Howard.
Ross Jomo has shared that if you're interested in, exploring a career as a union carpenter, they have a free pre-apprenticeship program for this spring located at McKinley High School. For any 12th grader that's 17 years of age by June 1st, you have reliable transportation. You can pass a drug screening. You can get an introductory to carpentry and real training, with the union carpenters.
Wow. So there's opportunities there. Thank you so much, legislator, for all that you're doing in our community. Let's go. Sam, the phone lines is lit up, so we got to go back to our phone line. Caller, are you there? Caller?
Good morning, Bishop. Hello?
Yes.
Hi, can you hear me? This is Sherry from We Are Women Warriors again. I forgot to mention, excuse me, with my apology, where we're meeting for the rally. We're meeting at 11:30 in the parking lot next to Gigi's former restaurant location at 251 East Ferry Street. It's right there at Jefferson and East Ferry Street. I just wanted to add that, but thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
All right, let's go back to our phone lines. Caller, you're on the air. Caller?
Yes, greetings.
Yes.
Yes, hello.
Go right ahead.
I just wanted to add on a little bit to what Legislator Johnson said and what Sam was putting forth.
Hey, Jomo.
And that is one. Hey, peace. The building trades will be sponsoring that job fair, and I think that people should at least come and find out what the requirements are to get in on the many jobs and projects that are coming. And for about 6 years, we've been trying to create an activity where the union can reach out and give training to our inner city community. With McKinley being the only high school that actually has building trades, a lot of the students at McKinley don't go into building trades. And Buffalo having the second largest school district in New York State, our children don't have a contract with BOCES. So other students get a chance to get into unions and have accessibility because they have the training in high school. If we don't have enough people having it, we never really get enough credentials
Hey, Jomo,
to be brought into the top list. Yes.
What about the kids graduating from McKinley?
The children, if they don't go into the building trades, many of those children don't try to come into the union. So you have many children. There's many different areas of focus at McKinley. Everyone is not doing building trades, and there's a number that's doing building trades. And sometimes those numbers, many of them don't try to come into the unions or don't try to go, into that aspect of labor. So I think that, just looking at the whole perspective, what we're doing is we're trying to open up to the Buffalo Public High School students, even from different schools. We're going to take a certain amount. It's going to be an after-school program, 2 days a week, and on Saturdays.
Can I ask you this? Because this just comes to mind. But, being those students that are at McKinley that are in the building trades, are we not targeting them? Are they not responding? I don't understand.
Well, it's true. Some of the students are probably going to be coming directly from that building trades program, but I'm telling you, over the years, many of those students don't continue with the trades. I go and we talk and we try to communicate about them applying. Many of them don't apply. Some of them say, hey, I don't even want to do building anymore. I was just here. I don't like this at all.
Okay.
So just over the years, we just got to keep on trying because, as I said, many of the students, even in those programs in high school, many of them don't do that after they graduate. Some go to school, some go to the military, some don't, do any of that.
Sure.
And then some you might have trying it. So just understand the reality stuff. I think if we opened up the opportunities to more people who weld, women who have fine motor skills, women, they're finding out some of the best welders, you know what I mean? So just, we're going to keep on casting a broad net and trying to make opportunities more available. More of us can do it if we had exposure to it.
So, Jomo, let me ask you this. Is there a level of education that you need to have to go into this training?
What you're going to have to do is, one, you're going to have to make sure that you graduate at the end of June, because in order to be brought into the union right now, you have to have a high school diploma. So that's why we're only bringing in the seniors. And you got, you pretty much have to be passing your grades in order to get in here. We don't have any mineral educational requirements. We're going to select based upon people's ability. You're only going to be able to take a certain amount. The union is going to be sponsoring the training, tools. materials. Buffalo Public Schools has agreed to allow us to use.
So, Jomo, the reason why I asked that is because, I mean, a lot of our kids that are graduating with a diploma are reading at an 8th grade level or below and doing math at a, 6th grade level. So that's,
right.
I mean.
I think a couple of years ago I told you we had took the math test away. Now, that don't mean you still have to do math. So if you can't, that's why we're going to be doing the training ourselves.
Right.
If you're having problems with math, we're going to have to explain it and show it to you. But that doesn't prevent you from coming in. We used to have a math test to even get into the carpentry union for an interview. That math test was eliminated about 3 years ago. I think I mentioned it. Actually, even on a drug test, cannabis does not disqualify you in your system. Now, you can't come to work high, but cannabis in your system does not disqualify you. That used to be a disqualifier for a whole year. Even if you tested, you couldn't apply for a whole year. So there's a lot of rules and requirements that have made it easier, but if our people don't know and if we're not trying to meet the goal, we'll stay on the outside. There's billions of dollars worth of construction coming. The Bill Stadium is going to need more people in the after concrete is done, and the 33 Kensington project is going to be needing workers from our community. That's just the facts. I talked about it 2 years ago, telling everybody apprenticeship, try to get there because that's where the contracts are going to go.
Yes. Hey, my brother, thank you so much, Jomo, all that you do, man. And we really appreciate you.
Bishop, ain't it interesting, though? I just think about how many times we keep saying we keep lowering standards, for getting people in. At some point, the chicken is going to come on the roost. I mean, we don't have to pay a price if we just keep lowering the standards. I don't get all the things we're doing to our children. We exposing our children to things that underdevelop them. And then we just lower the standards so we can put them in there anyway, underdeveloped. I mean, we got, legalized drugs. Now we got, you can't go to the corner store without being exposed to all kinds of stuff. You got legalized gambling. You got legalized prostitution. You got legalized all the stuff that when we were kids, we were kept from. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now, kids are exposed to all that, and it's now in order to get them to be able to give them a job, you gotta lower the standard. You can't. Don't worry about it. You ain't gotta take the math test. Don't worry about it. You ain't gotta take the drug test. Don't worry about it. I mean, good Lord, what are we going as a society when at the end of the day we are saying for our children, we don't have to protect them from being exposed to all these kind of things that cause their underdevelopment, and then we make exceptions so they can continue in life with the challenges that they picked up because they've been exposed to them.
Right, and what happens is, Sam, we all pay for it because, the lack of plumbers, the lack of building trades. You know how much you got to pay a plumber now? As a matter of fact, the guy was calling me because I got an issue at my house, right? And it's going to cost me some serious dollars for them to come out. There's only two of them in my area. I have a septic system, so there's only two of them in the area to work on it. See what I'm saying?
So they get to set their price.
Man, come on. You see, so when we talk about our children being college and career ready, being able to read and write on grade level and being college and career ready, this is what we're talking about, so that you have the option. People spend, and it's fine to the doctor, lawyer, all of that, but do you know that there's plumbers that are making that kind of money?
No question about it. No question about it. I mean, like, what are you talking about?
Bricklayers are making that kind of money.
Carpenters, workers here. No question about it.
And you don't have all of the other things.
And they got a trade. And they got a skill. That they can use anywhere in the world.
Right. And, most of them are doing work outside of the 9 to 5, where they're making extra money, where they're not even being taxed on it.
It was a time, I remember, maybe 10 years ago, where we was talking to the president of ECC at the time. And he said, we have more students in ECC who have come back with a bachelor's degree, to get a trade than we have students who are coming in from high school.
Yeah, I can believe that. I can believe
so they didn't win and got a degree in something that they can't get a job for, right? They got a liberal arts degree in something they get, and now they got to come back. They're trying to make money, take care of their family, and they come back to school to get a 2-year certificate in a trade.
I have often really thought about, Sam, just kind of taking some classes, like even like at Home Depot or something, just fix-up classes, just so I know, how to do some stuff that I don't have to hire somebody to come and do. My time is like, I'm like, okay, how can I fit in? But I have seriously thought about that, because it's amazing the kind of money that we're paying for the skilled labor, and you don't have to have a degree. If you can do math, it's simple multiplication and subtraction and division and addition and fractions, then you got the skill set that you need.
And the other part of it is you can do the job and you can do it well. You know what I'm saying? People pay at the end of the day for the people who can do the job. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They don't go look for the credentials.
I'm looking for people right now that can do the job. Yeah.
So if you go out and get a skill, you know what I mean? It becomes, and it's even more important now than ever. You know what I'm saying? It's more important now than ever. We got to have our children, acquiring the capacity to do things, because it's just, the world is so different than it was when we grew up. You know what I'm saying? It's just something, for me, I don't think we've ever saw historically.
Now, Sam, we've got with the Educational Task Force, we've got coming up with the University of Buffalo, where this tutoring is going to be offered to our children. We're doing everything we can, right, to try to bring some type of remedial situation to what's happening with our children in school.
I think that's such a good, important point to make, Bishop. We raised a lot of issues this morning about, the challenges we have within the system.
Right.
But along with that, we're also spending as much time trying to figure out how to get the children who are in the system now through that process and get better outcomes. All right. Mm-hmm. So students who we will have in the next 2 weeks, when all the kids get back, we've got right now 40 tutors that have registered to undergrad students who have registered to be tutors for Buffalo Public School students K-12. And so we'll have some information. When I come on next month, we'll have the flyer. We'll be sending this information out. And any student K-12 who need tutoring, help in math or reading, and actually at the high school level and other subject areas, we hopefully will have even more tutors by then. But we're starting the program. This is not a temporary program. This is a permanent program. We're going to take undergrad students and who will get work study money to be able to do tutoring. And they'll do the first one. It'll be done online. All you got to do, you get a Zoom address. They'll come on. They'll meet with you. And they'll help you through what you need to do in the tutoring side. And then in the spring, in the fall of next year, they'll also have a drop-in site at the University of Buffalo that you can bring your child in to get tutored. So we're working on that. That's our big initiative for this year, to make sure that, we're helping kids who, because at the end of the day, parents, is going to require your intentionality. You talk about this all the time. Mm-hmm. and you need access to resources that are going to help you. This is a resource that's going to help you.
Absolutely. Let's go back to our phone line. We got another phone call. Caller, you're on the air. Hello? Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Turn your radio down.
Oh, I ain't got no radio on.
Okay.
I'm in the van. Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Pat.
Okay. You know what? I want to thank you guys. Listen. I sit here and it pains me, even what's going on with our children. I mean, it's in the long term. A lot of people with the short term and stuff, but what y'all doing is going to help our children long term. And when you use the word, I listened to you when they were trying to deconstruct accountability. That's been the plan. Mm-hmm. You understand? Yep. They don't no accountability of nothing. Like you said, you got the unions, you got the teachers pole mouthing and complaining and stuff. And it's all, like you said, deconstruction and accountability. That is one thing that they are been trying to do. And I thank God you guys are on top of this. I was driving down the street. I heard a little bit at home. But God bless y'all. Keep up the good work. My prayers are with y'all. Because our children, everybody at home, our children are our future. Listen, we got to start with our children, y'all. Grown folks, yeah. But our kids, they don't have nobody to help them but us.
That's right.
Keep up the good work. God bless
That's right,
Amen.
And she's right. We got to fight for the children.
Yes, sir.
And my challenge, Sam, right from the beginning of really kind of understanding this system was like, wait a minute. this is an employment system for adults that educates children. Whenever there is an issue and it's the adult's needs versus the children's education, every time the adult wins. Listen to me. I'm not talking about 99%. 100% of the time in the Buffalo school system, when there is an issue about our children and their education versus the comfort, the economic welfare of adults, the children lose. And it's the only system where that happens. Because for some reason, there's the feeling that our children are expendable. And I'm going to tell you something. The people that are at the head of this system, that have the degrees and have the titles, look like us.
Right.
And it's a problem, folks.
And this is the first generation, Bishop, where those people in those positions who look like us have not done the work to replace themselves. You know what I'm saying? So we have a lot of people in a lot of key positions, but the system that they're overseeing, they're not effectively making it a pipeline so more kids, people like us, look like us who get through that system. There was a time in the history of Buffalo Public Schools where you had 30% of the staff that was, minority, of the staff. And we're down to, less than 15% now. That means the people, that brought the people that's there now, they fought to have them there. But then when they got there, they didn't make sure that they fought to bring more people there.
And there's no intentional effort to make that happen. My son, Demario, who's a teacher, he said, he tells kids all the time, be a teacher. He said, when I found out the benefits and how much money was being made, he said, no wonder they kept it a secret from us. Mm-hmm. No wonder they tried to keep us out. And so there's no real concerted effort that I know of, and maybe I'm willing to update that, where intentionally you're trying to get minorities and especially black men to be educators, and it makes a difference. Whenever you go into a classroom where there's a minority that is in that substitute teacher or assistant to the teacher, a lot of the assistants are running the classroom.
Come on.
I was
aides and teacher assistants.
Right. They run in the classroom.
And there was 99% black women.
Right. Exactly. And so it said no other people would give their children over to other people to educate them but us. And we didn't do that by choice, because when we fought in Brown versus the Board of Education, we weren't fighting to be integrated. We were fighting for equity. Give us the money that you're giving all your white students so that we can educate our children. And what they gave us was the yoki-doke.
Yep.
And with all deliberate speed, right? I mean, what you did was you put this integration in because and white folks had options because they got resources, they got money, they can make a different choice. We don't have those options. We don't have those economic capabilities. And so here again, over and over again, we've got to educate ourselves and recognize we got to do things a lot different than what we've been doing.
Look at who's benefiting from the busing, the desegregation. It's not our community. I mean,
right.
The first student is not us. You know what I'm saying? People making $50 million, off of our kids being bused around. And our kids are not benefiting. The parents are not benefiting. The neighborhood is not benefiting. But somebody benefits.
And the people that advocate that you keep busing, a lot of them look like us. That's what that's what I don't understand. And we're at the end of our program, but let me just say this concerning the 33, because the young lady called in about it. Monetta Malcolm is going to be on my show the third Saturday to talk about this. Everybody know Monetta, how she fights for our community. And so this whole thing of the community's voice, there's a lot of voices out here This is a once in a lifetime opportunity for our community. We cannot allow this loud minority to sway $1 billion going down the road to New York City.
And you just heard Jomo talk about the jobs it's going to create in our community, for our kids, the opportunity it's going to create for us. And so these people mobilize and organize to replace it with nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, ain't nothing going to replace it.
Replace it, we're going to fill it in. They're not going to fill it in.
Not with this money, they're not.
They're not going to fill it in, right. Not with this money. It's not going to happen. So, but she'll be on to talk about that. I've already made my feelings known about this situation. Right. And I think, are we out of time? Out of time, but not out of conversation, Sam. Yes, hey, sir. Stay tuned. We the parents coming up right behind us. Listen, tomorrow, 10 a.m., Bethesda War Harvest International Church. Stop on by. We'd love to see you. Until next week, we say peace. All right. Share. We'll see you next week.